Hi everyone, it's Derek. So I'm just making this as a quick introduction to the Cassie Jaye Q&A that we did just a couple of weeks ago. I did post somewhere that I would get it up later that weekend, and then I ended up procrastinating. It's not an excuse, that's just literally what it is. And maybe in the future I'll be a better person. Like today, when I finished doing some editing on it so that it would be presentable, I was a better person today. So we'll see if I'm a better person in the future as well. But the main issue is that there's a huge disparity in the audio between our questions and her answers. I do think, like in my judgment, her answers stand alone without the questions. But I think that, you know, with the subtitles, it's very clear. I'm going to post what the questions are in the video description as well, with timestamps of when she answers them. But like I said, you can hear Cassie Jaye very clearly, and her answers are very clear and very good. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I know that I'm a little bit disorganized and a lot of things I kind of did last minute. And I've already apologized on comments about just audio wasn't a high enough priority, particularly with us asking questions. So, you know, a couple of lessons learned. But that being said, I'm really happy with how the event turned out. And the fact that it turned out that well, despite my organization, makes me extremely, you know, optimistic, because it means that, you know, things should only be better in the future. So yeah, we'll see what comes of it. But anyway, I've talked long enough. Here is the Q&A portion with just Cassie Jaye that we played, and we started immediately following the screening. So enjoy.
Is there a light in the end of the tunnel?
Yes, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Are you optimistic for the future? How hopeful are you?
I am optimistic in that I think people will start to want the truth from the media, from educational institutions, without bias dictating what information we can share or how we share it. And I'm starting to see that mindset wake up, especially with people online, where they are pointing out the misinformation in the media and going to the comment section and calling out these publications that are, you know, cooking up lies. So in that way, I think that, sorry, it's hard to hear, so I'm kind of, so in that way, I think I am positive in that we have people power. If there's more people wanting to have people being honest in the media and also educational institutions, then we could see a change for the better for future civilizations, you know, looking for solutions based on facts rather than fears that have been fed to us.
How was making the film for you as a career move from that perspective?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. You know, it kind of was a suicide mission as a filmmaker, and, you know, I'm glad that it's helping people, so it's completely worth it. But you know, seeing how
Oh, dang it.
So yeah, suicide mission. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to other people. Just seeing how I've been treated in the film's been treated, I think it's a warning to other people to not make content like this, because that's the result you'll have. So it's, I think in some ways maybe I'm being the guinea pig that's being used to teach the rest of the class, see, don't do that, stay in line. In that way, it sounds really depressing. But, you know, I hope, I really do think, though, that people power can be powerful if we show that there's a market for films like this, that people want to not only see films like this, but there is also can be a lucrative area for the film industry to make content that shows alternate perspectives, so that we're not getting all the same flavor and you know, kind of political issues in films. And so I don't know, it'll be interesting. I think over the next couple of years we'll really see what kind of effect this film does have on films in the future, and if there will be more filmmakers who are daring enough to challenge the mainstream perspective.
Okay, are you surprised by the flack and pushback you've gotten, especially from feminists?
Yeah, I am. Because I think the pushback proves the point of the film even more than I showed within the film, which is that there are active efforts to silence this kind of discussion. And when I included that in my film with I think I have 3 different protests shown in the film. When I included that footage, it was because whenever men's rights activists did try to organize and get together to talk about these issues, they would be met with radical feminist groups pulling fire alarms and chanting, slurs at them. And I thought it was just insane because, I'd been a feminist of 10 years and I never saw that side of radical.
What?
Very bad. 1 star.
Yeah, right. Let's call her again. It's okay.
Hello?
Yep, you're there.
We're being silenced. Skype. Keeping my eye on you.
Rory, your question?
Yeah, I wanted to know what your thoughts are on, what's happening on college, universities with, students being indoctrinated into feminism through like gender studies and like social justice courses.
Did you hear it okay?
Yes. So what my view is on what's happening in gender studies and kind of breeding grounds for SJWs. I think it's really alarming, and I don't think that's what educational institutions should be about. I think it should be challenging ideas and debating and disagreement and dissension and I don't know. It just seems. I don't know. I would be afraid if I had a child right now that was going into college. I'd be very worried if they were getting a well-rounded education and not being taught what to think, but being taught how to think for themselves. And I think that's what higher education should be about, is giving you the tools to know how to think for yourself and how to fact check and debate and challenge your own ideas, even your own bias. That's maybe a lost art of intelligence, is being able to see belief systems and that could be holding us back. And it's so ingrained in us that we can't even see it. It's like the fish that can't see the water they're swimming in. I would like us to become fish that try to see the water.
Thank you.
Frequent critique that I heard from feminist groups before coming to the movie was that you brushed over or didn't address the content of the online forum. Is there any connection between online forums like TheRedPill and the group that you discussed?
I was just asked this morning. So I'll kind of give a long-winded answer, and hopefully it covers what you're asking. So the reason I called this film The Red Pill is because when I began making it in March 2013, the men's rights movement had already been using that term since 2010. So a good 3 years of online blogs and videos saying if you see the men's rights perspective, it's like taking the red pill, which is seeing the harsh, uncomfortable reality and not being able to see the world the same way again once you learn this information. And so that term really resonated with my process because I couldn't see gender issues the same way again when I started to listen to men's rights activists. The Reddit forum, TheRedPill, began January 2013, and it wasn't until August that they had 10,000 subscribers, which, in Reddit forums, that's not even enough to have made the news in any sort by then. So it was slowly starting to grow, and it definitely wasn't on my radar as a title issue because the men's rights movement had already been using that term for so long. So as far as how the mainstream media conflates these groups, whether it's Reddit's TheRedPill, MGTOW, pickup artists, and the men's rights movement, they're lumping them all together as this manosphere because they want them all to be written off as hate speech and not educate people on the nuance between the groups, the differences between the groups, because they would rather just lump them all together and say, you know, they're against us, they're not with us, don't even look their way, they're not worth your time. So I was telling someone this morning that for the media to conflate all those groups is, and there's no good analogy, but it'd be like saying that karate, yoga, and hiking are all the same. I mean, they're completely different. But if you're just lumping them all together and saying, oh, don't worry about that, then it's an easy way to dismiss them and also blame other groups for comments from another group. So blame men's rights activists for comments that are written in Reddit's TheRedPill. And, you know, I have a lot of views on Reddit's TheRedPill, and I don't think they'd be popular views. But to summarize my views on Reddit's TheRedPill is I don't think they're the demons that the media makes them out to be. But even still, they are not the men's rights movement. So it's pretty complicated when you start going through all the onion layers of the manosphere. But you know, with the title, it really did succinctly describe my journey, and I thought of a million other titles that this film could have been, and you know, I just don't think as many people would have been interested in a film called Men's Voices or, you know, men sharing their stories. It's, you know, the red pill does make your ears perk a little and think, huh, what is that? A harsh reality truth? What could this be? So, you know, it is what it is. There's been a lot of controversy around the red pill, but I'm stubborn. I'm sticking by it.
You had a quick follow-up to that.
Related to that, now that the movie is well known and this thing Reddit forum is well known, are you having problems with people conflating your film with the Reddit forum?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think I also do wonder if the media's kicked it up a notch to write a lot of kind of smear type articles about Reddit's The Red Pill since the release of my film, hoping that people think it's the same thing. And we also know about this Republican senator, I forget his name, Robert Fisher, who was outed as starting Reddit's The Red Pill, and now he's resigned from office. And, you know, people are contacting me asking what I think about that, and it's like, it's a completely different group. I didn't spend 3.5 years looking into Reddit's The Red Pill. I did look into it, but I didn't spend the amount of time I did with the men's rights movement. But yeah, I do think the media is really trying to conflate the two. There's been a lot more press about Reddit's The Red Pill since the release of my film. And, you know, I think throwing out labels like misogynist, racist, sexist, bigot, homophobic, xenophobic, all these different labels is just a really quick way to tell the majority of people, ignore this group, they're bad people, don't look at them. And so right now they're trying to do that with Reddit's The Red Pill and hoping people also assume my film is the same. Oh, and one kind of fun tidbit too is the term the red pill, many people know, has been used for a lot of different groups, like environmentalist groups have used this term, alien conspiracists. There was an Oscar-winning filmmaker, Lucy Walker, who had a short film called The Red Pill about disabled people. But also there was a feminist film called Equal Means Equal, which also said that taking the red pill was seeing their point of view. And that was in 2013 that they said that. So I think it's interesting that, you know, the red pill is, in itself, the term the red pill has almost become a bad word or a bad term, bad 3 words. I've been seeing tweets from people saying, God, I was dating this guy, and then I heard that he told me that I should watch the Red Pill movie, and now I can never talk to him again. And, I had no idea he was such a sick misogynist, And, this woman doesn't know anything about the film, but she's somehow heard of the Red Pill and thinks it equates misogyny. So.
Persuasion of most of them, right?
For the ones I talked to, it was about half and half, Democrat, Republican, and libertarians as well. But Warren Farrell is a strong liberal. He supported the Hillary campaign. Paul Elam ended up supporting Trump later on in the campaign run. Mark Angelucci, he's a liberal. It's almost all of the people I met were pro-choice, which is interesting. Even, many of them were Republican, but they were pro-choice. And many of them became interested in gender issues by first being a feminist. Paul Elam was a feminist before he became a men's rights activist. I wish I included that in the film. But yeah, he started out as a feminist, and so did Dean Esme. And when they wanted to bring up men's issues, they were, told to leave. So but the political, it's all over the spectrum for their political views.
Your film has been a gold mine for data mining. Thank you for putting it out. It started a dialogue that's been remarkable. And I've been mining Twitter and Facebook for people's reactions for the last couple of weeks on this to put together some data. I have found an enormous amount of disgust language, things that are seem to be parasite-driven, and I'm wondering if you had any. People seem to be angry, but women in particular seem to be disgusted and seem to be spreading disgust, and I'm wondering what your perspective is on that, on the feedback.
Yeah, well, I understand where they're coming from because I went through that phase too, and so did my mom, so did my sister. I do wonder, my assistant Nikita, she's been wondering if leaving a belief system also coincides with the 5 stages of grief, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I know there's bargaining, there's anger, denial, and you do go through those stages. I had red pill rage for a while, where you're angry you've been lied to, especially the wage gap that really upset me when I started finding the sources of where that statistic comes from and realizing that, we've been lied to for decades about this. And so I think with women who are so angry about either me making this film or this film being out there, I think and it sounds like patronizing to say this, but I think it's the stage, and I do think they'll get past it if they're willing to look deeper, have conversations with people who have different views than them. And once you get through those denial, anger, rage stages, bargaining stages, it's actually a really nice place to realize that we all have issues that we have to overcome, whether they're brought upon us from discrimination or just how the chips fell when you were born. And we also all have privileges and things that we can be grateful for that other people can't say the same. That, whether it's your strong family structure or educational opportunities or where you live or, your health, all these different things. But we do tend to focus on what don't I have that someone else has. And, now that I realize that I do have so many advantages as a woman, and, I think it also took looking at what could have been all my options And when I started wondering if I could switch gender roles with my now fiance as of 2 weeks ago, when I thought about if I could switch gender roles, thank you, slip that in there. I thought, I wouldn't want to change roles with him. And I was so bitter about having to do all the housework and cooking and cleaning because I don't enjoy that. I enjoy working. I'm very much a career-driven person. So I was bitter about these things that I would do, laundry, whatever else. But then I realized that, and this sounds so, simple and silly now, but if anything's wrong with the car, he would fix it, or if there's a spider, he would get it, he would clean the gutters, he would take care of the tasks around the house that I really did not want to do. And if I had the choice between doing laundry or cleaning the gutters, I'll take the laundry. But that's anecdotal, but it's very empowering when you start to realize that we're all in this together. We all have issues. Most of us have childhood trauma in some way. And if we can let go of our stronghold around this victimhood mentality, it's actually a really empowering place to be, to know that your future is in your control. And you can choose to be a victim and walk through the world that way, or you can choose to know that you have all the power within you to do and be whatever you want to do and be, and you can also be happy and make that choice. But yeah, so it takes a while to get there. For me, about 4 years of taking the red pill.
And I just want to add that the recent presentation at the Noetic Institute, I think, kind of ties into that really well. And I'd encourage everybody here, go check that out. It's a 20-minute presentation she did. They put it up on Monday, I think, just less than a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, brand spanking. So we have.
Yes.
I posted it on the event page.
Oh,
But I can also take your contact information. I think you can send you
okay.
anyone. So we have other panels for a Q&A, but they're in later time zones. If you want, we could send you the invite to that Google Hangout if you want to be on the screen with us for that. But I know you said that you have limited time.
Yeah, sorry, I have to leave in 15 minutes. Do you think it'll be shorter than 15 minutes?
Well, we were planning on hopefully going an hour, but Janice is there and she has a bedtime, and Sage has to leave. So,
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want, we could invite you to that Google Hangout, and then whenever you need it to get out, because a couple of them might also need to leave for the interview.
Well, it'd be extremely quick. Maybe I could just say hi to Janice and Sage and then let them take the floor.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so
Okay.
Well, I'll have Prince send you the link, and then yeah, we'll meet you there.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Before you let it go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, Cassie, this is Chris Stren. I'm the vice chair for the Twin Cities Men's Center.
Hi.
Hi, and I know you can't see me, but I can see you. But I just want to thank you very, very much for sharing your film with us. And I know personally as a filmmaker that it was a very controversial piece put out there for the public. And I hope that with all the stuff that you are going through with people sending you harsh messages and so on and so forth, that you have found some kind of cathartic peace in this for yourself. And thank you very much for what you've done.
Thank you so much for saying that. It really has been hard. Even this past week has been, I think, more hate mail than usual this past week. So it starts to weigh on you, but it's always good to hear that the film is out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.